So yeah,
May
if there's
I
any
ask
questions,
you,
I'm
what
happy to.
is it, OTC? What is stand for?
Orders to cash.
Oh,
Yeah, so
thank
that's
you.
this one right here, orders to cash, sorry for the abbreviation.
Would this program be available for rising seniors?
No, so you have to be a graduate of university. We have an internship program that has different functions available online for applications as well, but this is for graduates.
So is the application is on your website, or can we go to like a LinkedIn and search for it?
I think both, Taylor, am I right? You can go to our career website, and I think that's also posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll put the link to our career site right now that goes directly to the rotation program.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you guys do 1 week internships?
1 week? I don't think so.
Oh, it's like over
yeah, I don't.
like a 10-week thing, or?
Oh, yeah, we do summer internships for university students. I'm not sure how long they are, but 8 to 10 weeks sounds right. But we do have an internship program.
All right. Thank you.
That's only in summertime. Only in summertime, not now, right?
We do have
I don't know that
other seasons that we do internships.
Where can we find it, please? Where we can find the internship program?
I'm having a hard time hearing you. I think you're asking where we can find the.
Where we can find the internship program, please.
Yeah, if you go to our career page, you can search intern, and it will pull up all of our open internships.
Thank you.
Yeah, and again, my name is Jimmy Sexton, and my email is just jimmy.sexton@snowflake if anyone has any further questions.
Can you repeat? You said it was for seniors only, graduating seniors only?
Yes, you have to be a graduate of undergrad.
Thank you.
If I may ask, like what, so you mentioned how like you previously worked at ServiceNow, and you guys were emulating other tech companies like financial rotational program. And Snowflake is like new and like honestly like a huge company making huge waves in the industry. But what specifically differentiates their rotational program from your competitors?
Yeah, I wouldn't call us competitors. I don't think we're competing for business with them. I view us much more friendly. I was just actually on the phone with the lady that runs finance at ServiceNow before this. So I think it's really just a different scale of company. I'm sure that there's many more roles at ServiceNow. We're much smaller. I think they have 10 times the number of employees than we have. So it just depends on the scale of company that you want to work for. I think that there are benefits to working at a smaller company. There's also benefits to working at a larger company, but I think both are great opportunities. And I wouldn't say that ours is better or worse than theirs. I would say that we're definitely a faster growing company, but we're also, I think that lends itself to giving yourself a little bit more opportunity, at least if you come to a smaller company. And I can tell you that our CFO is very involved in this process and is asking me for updates on it, very regularly, and will be, involved with the class. I would say that ours is, it's just growing. So it's just a different scale.
Thank you.
I also wanted to ask, is the business intelligence position also under the FRP program, as you stated?
Yes, the business intelligence analyst is what rolls up under finance or FP&A. So on our FP&A team, it's probably one of the more unique positions. We we actually run Snowflake. So Snowflake's a data management product and a SQL query engine. And so we actually have a BI analyst role and team under our FP&A org that does finance analytics. And that's much more of a data science focus. And so I think that's a very unique and interesting role that, isn't generally in finance at a lot of other companies. And so that's an opportunity to kind of, if you know how to use or write SQL or, run those types of processes, you can learn and also, leverage those skills.
I have a question. What's your favorite part about working at Snowflake?
For me, it's the opportunity that I've had to work at one of the most innovative, disruptive companies, in the world. I think the smart people that I'm surrounded by make me feel very fortunate. I learn something new every day. I mean, not just the finance and accounting team, but the product team and the engineering team and the sales team and the marketing team. I think everyone that I speak to is just highly intelligent and highly motivated. And, being able to join a company that is growing as fast as we are and has such a disruptive technology is something that doesn't necessarily happen to everyone. So I feel very fortunate for that opportunity. I think outside of that, being able to run, our initial public offering was a unique opportunity itself that I don't want to say it's once in a lifetime type opportunity. Hopefully it happens again, later in my career as well. But it's the largest software IPO in history and clearly has been successful. So I think that was very unique. And I love working for, my CFO. As I mentioned, I've worked with him for, a little over 10 years and he and I have a very good relationship. And I learn, he's the most well-respected, in my opinion, well-respected CFO in technology. And being able to work for someone like that, who I can learn from on a daily basis makes me feel pretty fortunate. So I'm very fortunate to work for a company with people that created such a compelling product that we all get to benefit from.
Hey, Jimmy, I just have one question for you. So I know hundreds of applicants are applying for this position. It's a really interesting role and opportunity to learn. So my question for you is, what are some tips you have to stand out as a candidate?
Yeah, I think, it's pretty interesting looking through all these applications. I think a lot of applications or resumes can contain a lot of noise. I feel like, the more simple an application is with clear cut, points on work experience, as well as highlighting, strong academic performance is something that is very important to us. We want to bring people on board who have had, some work experience, whether, that's in a corporate environment or just not. We don't care. I think we like to see someone who is, at least had some work experience in any field. I'm talking service industry all the way to being, an accountant. And so I think, work experience as well as academic performance are important to us, and making that clear in a resume. I think too many times I open a resume and I see like something 3 pages long with all of these words on it. And it's just very hard when you're going through 500 resumes to separate the noise from, what you actually want to take from something like that. So I would say that's my biggest advice.
If I may ask, when you mention academic performance, does that mean including your GPA, or does it mean including your extracurricular activities or any societies you're part of?
I would say all of that. They're all taken into consideration.
Thank you.
So kind of bouncing my question off of Armin's previous question, if you could recommend, finance students to, if we have time on our hands, to go out and learn a new skill, such as, Tableau, SAP, even learning how to code, what would you recommend us to learn?
Yeah, it's interesting looking at these resumes. It's a very different time than when I was applying. And so, for me, it was very Excel focused, and I still feel very comfortable in Excel. The world is moving to more data science type applications. And so I think even being able to write SQL or Python or Java is proven to be incredibly important. Our finance org, our data science team, as I mentioned, has automated tasks that I used to spend hours and hours doing in Excel. And so I think that's an incredible skill to have. And I feel like that's where the future is going. With that being said, I think any software solution that, someone has, from a background of an internship or whatever it might be, whether that's, learning how to use SAP, or I mean, we use Workday Financials. But I just think I think any of those are helpful. But for me, the future is moving more towards I would say data science. So and it seems to me like that's being more focused on in curriculum than when I was in school.
Thank you.
What kind of personal characteristics are you looking for in candidates for the rotational program?
Yeah, I think for us, Snowflake is very much a performance-based culture. So people that are hyper-focused on their careers and not looking for necessarily their managers to kind of bring them along. I think for us, people that stand out at the company are people that are high performers. Obviously, the table stakes, like attention to detail, hardworking, self-starter, all of those things are important. But I think it's people that are willing to, do things on their own and feel comfortable doing that. Are people who succeed, and we compensate based off of performance, and so that generally, is a positive attribute, to be a high performer. I think, at least in the finance organization, our CFO allows us to run autonomously. He doesn't micromanage, and so being able to rise to the occasion to deliver on what his expectations are without clear-cut guidance on exactly what he wants is a very important quality. I also think communication is very key when you work in finance. I mean, we work so much cross-functionally that having transparent, honest, but respectful conversations and listening is super important. I think too many people. I think at least in my history, there's been too many people that have focused on talking versus listening, and I think that's a key. It sounds obvious, but that's a key component of communication, is actually hearing what people are saying versus just pushing your own agenda.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Jimmy, I know you mentioned to Gabby that you guys value the ability to work individually. So my question is, for this role, is it primarily working in a collaborative team, or is it mostly individual work that you maybe report to a superior?
Yeah, it's collaborative. What I meant by working, individually was getting a problem or a solution and being able to run with it versus immediately asking what to do. I think for us, we rely a lot on our employees to do things differently. Our CFO always talks about he might have an idea, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best idea. It's just the way that he's done it in the past, and there's no reason why someone can't do it better. And so I think it allows for much more creativity, and every day isn't the same when you operate like that. I think too many times in corporate environments, people get siloed into the same mundane tasks over and over again. And that's how you burn out. I mean, that's just honestly, especially in a work from home environment where if you wake up and you're doing the same thing every day, I mean, that just sounds awful. And I think we can all agree. So I think if you can get a little more creative and make the job more interesting, then that's, allows for employees to run a little bit more with their work.
As a junior, I really look forward to applying to this position next year. So any chance when applications are going to be open for next year's cohort?
Yeah, in the fall. So we got late start on this. We just kind of kicked this off at the beginning of this year, and so we're still going through the process, but it'll be open in the fall.
Perfect, thank you.
Is there a deadline for the applications for the rotational program?
Yeah, so it'll be the end of this month. And we'd like to get interviews scheduled next month, and then have offers out hopefully beginning of May. And then the start of the program is the week, I believe it's the week after 4th of July holiday in July.
Thank you.
So I just have a quick question about the interview process, as in like general interview piece of advice. So let's say like I make it like the interview stage for this program, right? So what are some general piece of advice you have for an interview to stand out?
Yeah, I think it's very simple around being honest, being yourself, allowing to show who you are and what your personality is, and that allows people to, especially for entry level positions. I think if you make it to that position, clearly people were impressed by whatever you had on paper. It's more about at that point making sure that these people are comfortable working with you on a daily basis. And so I always found that when I was interviewed for entry level roles, it's finding out if someone's capable, and that generally happens pretty early on, and then finding out if that person's someone who you can see growing in the company. And we're very big believers of promoting within, and so we're looking to hire people for sure. It might be rotational program now, but will that person be able to be at the company in 10 years and climb through the ranks? And so I think it's more about showing who you are and your personality, and how that can work well with with the team.
Does anyone else have any more questions? You guys can also put it in the chat and I can read it out loud.
I know Jimmy said a lot, but Taylor and Alex, do you have any other insights that you would say in successfully landing a job at Snowflake or any other company when it comes to FRP specifically?
This is Alex. Hi, everyone. Sorry I joined late. I am the manager of university programs at Snowflake. And I also was actually at ServiceNow beforehand, so I saw the FDRP program there as well. But I would just mimic really a lot of what Jimmy said. I think coming out of school, a lot of students feel that they have to overcompensate for lack of real world experience, and often add so much details to your resumes when you're actually in the best position to be very clear cut, very concise about what your skills are and what you're looking for. Definitely being yourself in these interviews, because one thing to remember is that as much as the company is interviewing you for this role, you're also interviewing the company to say, is this where I want to work? Is this where I want to connect with people and build my skill sets and enter into the workforce? So those are really, for me, the two things that I would mimic from Jimmy the most. There were some questions about internships. And so I know Taylor posted the FRP in the chat, and I posted our career site, but we are constantly adding internships. And I believe we're actually in the process of adding a finance internship for orders to cash for this summer. So for that, you can be a current student. You do not have to graduate. You actually have to be a current student. No graduates yet. So please be sure to check out our careers page, and you can see all of those upcoming internships, as well as the FRP, which is the full-time role.
Yeah, that sounds great. When can we expect the finance internship? Because I'm sure a lot of our members would be very interested in that to be like posted.
We are in the process. I got approval for it yesterday, so hopefully it'll be posted by early next week. But what you can do is on our career site, we have something called our talent community, where you can actually fill out what you're looking for in a role, what organization, which location, keywords, etc. And then when we do post those roles, you will be notified. So you don't have to constantly monitor the careers page. Makes your life a little easier because we know you have a lot going on with school and such.
What is the requirement for the internship, please?
So the basic requirement for all Snowflake internships is that you are actively enrolled in school at the time of that internship. The specifics for this role, so those skill sets, you'll have to wait until the job is posted in the next few days, and you'll be able to see what the specific skill sets are that they're looking for. And there was just a question about the FRP program. Right now, Snowflake is remote. In the US, all of our offices are remote. However, we are asking that all of the participants live in the Bay Area or East Bay. So that's near either our Dublin or our San Mateo headquarters. Although work from home or work in the office is still kind of fluctuating over the next year, it will be expected that you should have access to the office for team meetings, gatherings, work, etc. So you may not be in the office every day, but you should be able to access the office if you need to.
Thank you for that. It's definitely something that we probably wouldn't have known before if you didn't tell us.
But for the internship, do we have to come into the office or we can work from home, please?
Right now, the internships are all remote for this summer.
Yes, yes.
For this summer. We have not decided for fall yet, but right now all internships will still be remote for summer.
Are there any other questions for the Snowflake, or we can move on if you guys are done with them? Because
I have a quick question.
yeah.
So Jimmy, you were talking about like how you guys like evaluate like resumes, and sometimes like some resumes may have like a ton of like noise, and they may not be as clearly cut in like in terms of like what value may bring to the company. What would you recommend in terms of like just even as simple as like bullet points in like for like things you've done for the company? Like, would you recommend like keeping it simple, like 2 bullet points or clear, just you know,
I mean,
qualitative
honestly, it's for me, if I see a resume that's longer than a page, it's like, but this is my personal preference, so I don't want to speak for every hiring manager. But if you can't keep it on a page, then I think you probably have too much. And so I typically like to see, the school, the work history, and then the extracurriculars or the interests at the bottom. I generally like to see a couple bullet points. So I mean, at the end of the day, I realize not everyone coming out of school has a ton of work experience. So I think, as Alex pointed out, there might be some intention to overcompensate, but to me, that is not something that I find, super positive in a resume. I mean, at the end of the day, people can see through it. And so, I think Alex made a good point. And unfortunately with that, I have a meeting at 5 o'clock, so I'm a minute late, but I really did appreciate talking to everyone. Again, my name is Jimmy Sexton. You can reach me at jimmy.sexton@Snowflake. So if you have any questions, but great meeting everyone virtually.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if any of the employees are still here, but for Sean, I think I've actually seen the Dublin office. If you know where Regal is in Dublin, it's in that area, in the vicinity. So with that, we're actually going to move to the rest of our meeting today. That's going to include the club updates and our social. So I'm going to get to that. All right. So we already got Snowflake, but today is March 11th. If you guys were wondering, the extra credit and sign-in will be at the end of the meeting, so be sure to look out for that. So today's agenda, we just had the presentation by Snowflake on their FRP program, and I'm just going to go over these quick updates and be followed by our game night social. The upcoming meetings, this is pretty key. So tomorrow we have an exclusive Cisco networking event for the business case competition members. So be sure to be on a lookout from that. I believe it's 4 to 5:30 p.m. March 19th is our case competition finale. So be sure to get your case competitions prepped up and ready to go, because that is the final date. March 25th, we have Robert Cantrell from Keypoint Technologies. I believe he's like the CEO or CFO. So he's going to be joining us, and I'm actually looking forward to that one a lot because he definitely has some valuable insights, and he's very excited for our presentation with him. And March 27th is the start of spring break till April 2nd. So that's a little break for us to take away from midterms and everything. Social will be starting now. I'm going to hand it off to Anthony.
Thank you, Rishab. So we'll be having 3 rounds of breakout rooms, and there will be an officer or a committee member